Eerily haunting true stories about remote abandoned locations rich in history. Come with us in our travels from state to state, if you dare.
Be the last time anybody sees us alive. I don't know where she has us, but we're gonna fucking kill.
Hello? Gina, there is a beehive over there. Do you see that in the hole?
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
I thought it was.
I'm just gonna leave now.
It was a long night. Okay.
What just happened?
She thought we were doing a Reform Radio episode. She was waiting for you to play the music.
You know, the sexy letter dance.
Yeah, of course. It is early, but I shouldn't be the one. Whatever, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, that's a good start. That's a good start. Okay, I'm back.
Shot on everybody, or just you guys?
We're doing it right now.
Yeah, this is
That was
gonna
it.
be our.
Let's start over.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Yeah, we don't.
We're okay.
We're gonna use all that
Yeah.
Cool.
because it's very Shannon.
Oh, that's right. We're doing our.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you start.
Okay.
Since
Hi, I'm Shannon. We already said welcome to 50 States of Madness. If we're using it, we're using it.
I just want to let everybody know this usually doesn't happen when we record. She's very confused today.
I've been up all night. Okay.
To me, this is very
Hold
early.
on a second.
So let's
Hold
give
on
you-
1 second.
What?
She was not up all night. She took a fucking Xanax.
Well, if I'm up till 12 midnight, that's me up all night.
Oh, if you did- I mean, the Xanax explains it then. That makes sense then.
Yeah, I did. I took a Xanax.
If I take one, I'm messed up for like 2 days and I don't know what I'm saying or doing.
I
That's why I got married.
She's
Xanax.
she's a professional.
we would walk to the bathroom at night, and I told her at one point, I'm like, "Are we on a ship?" Like literally, my body's walking like this. I'm like, why can't I not walk in a straight line right now?
Who drove this morning?
She did.
Okay, good.
But I think it's because I took the Xanax at 12, and if you wake up at 3 to go pee, like it's like in your system because it doesn't have time to because I take it, you go to sleep, it didn't have time to what is that? Metabolize. I was gonna say
Metabolize?
Metastasize.
She said metabolize.
You knew what I was gonna say.
I did know you. I've known long enough to know that you probably were not going to do very well with that word.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so welcome to 50 States of Madness.
yes, hi, I'm Shannon.
Hi, I'm Gina.
Hi, I'm Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hi.
Dan's just here.
Yeah.
Actually, we brought in the expert today.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
we did.
it's more of an expert than us.
Maybe.
Okay, so the reason why I asked to meet with Dan, because I turned to Gina, because a few weeks ago on the news in Las Vegas, with the aliens that landed in the backyard and the cops and the lights, I know. So I wanted...
That's exactly what I told her. I'm like,
Yeah. But I wanted to know, like, your take on it and what was it that they saw coming down? Like, because I was just like, I don't know who to ask all these questions to.
Well, that happened like within a few days of that huge UFO whistleblower, David Grush, coming forward. And you know do you read about him yet? He's the one who came forward and said that the government is been working on like a 90-year crash retrieval reverse engineering program.
No.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
I mean, that's the
Backstory.
one of the biggest stories in history to me. But this very, very high-ranking intelligence officer named David Grush, 36 years old. He's a former veteran of Afghanistan, huge in the intelligence community, like a very, very high-up guy, trusted with the world's, deepest secrets, He came forward and said on the record through Congress, through the proper channels, and testified under oath that the government has been doing like a 90-year secret special access program type stuff of retrieving crashed and downed and gifted UFOs and hiding them from Congress. So like not with no oversight whatsoever. So huge story. And a couple of days after that happened, that Vegas story happened. And it was a meteor that flew over Vegas.
So it was a meteor. Okay.
I believe it was a meteor. and it was caught on a police officer's body cam
Yeah, I
footage, which
saw
was
it,
interesting.
yeah.
And it was like, for a minute, I was like, that's pretty cool. And then a teenage kid, right? Teenage
Yes.
boy like called 911 and said that there's something crashed in his backyard and that there's these 10-foot beings that look like aliens walking around his backyard, and they have video of it and everything. And the cop showed up, and obviously nothing was there.
Yeah.
And the kid claimed that it landed in the backyard because there was like a circle in the dirt of his backyard. But if a UFO crashed in the backyard, it wouldn't leave a perfectly, manicured circle. It would have been a hole or whatever it was. So he claimed to have video. He never gave the video. And then him and his whole family stopped responding to press, stopped talking to the police. It turned out to be it's complete bullshit.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
didn't get that far, I guess, in the information.
Yeah.
So I have lots of follow-ups.
Yeah.
Because I've been watching some of the documentaries and stuff on Netflix and stuff, and they were talking about how over the years they have been preparing us for these aliens, like that the government had been feeding like Hollywood,
Steven Spielberg,
all them what they're
E.T.
supposed to
and
look
Close
like,
Encounters,
yeah,
right?
like kind
right.
of giving them a description of what they look like and stuff. So we're actually, as a society, not surprised when they actually come. Mm-hmm. Is that?
I mean,
pretty
there might be
accurate, or-
something to it. I mean, that's been talked about for years as being a possibility, and you can kind of see it in some of those films. Close Encounters is a huge one where UFOs are interacting with people, with Richard Dreyfuss's character, and at the end, they meet with they land with the government in some base somewhere, which supposedly has happened. There was a famous possible meeting between Eisenhower and a bunch of aliens.
I was going to
And
ask about that. Yeah, like because he was supposed to be in Palm Springs, but he disappeared for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Is that Eisenhower?
I believe it was Eisenhower, yeah. Or Truman. Truman or
I
Eisenhower.
thought it was Truman. But
Okay, maybe
yeah.
maybe that was it then.
And like he went and he disappeared, and nobody knew where he was. And supposedly he was like vacationing or whatever. But they said that he had this meeting, right? With,
At an Air Force base
at
with
an Air Force base,
possible
in
aliens.
California.
Aliens.
Yeah.
It was over here, like in 29 Palms or something like that.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I forget what the airbase was, but
I think it's the one near Palm Springs.
that's
so.
where they possibly apparently made some kind of treaty between aliens and humans, or with the government, where they were kind of maybe the aliens will trade technology for the ability to possibly abduct people and run their own experiments. That was like the agreement they possibly had, maybe, perhaps.
And then, so some of these people, we should really like take them seriously, the ones who've been abducted. And then I was also seeing, I had a question too, and maybe you don't know the answer to, or, you do, but why are some presidents privy to that information and others are not? So like, it seems like, or do they just claim they don't know?
I don't think any of them are privy to any of the information.
So Truman just happened.
Maybe he might have been one of the last ones, possibly. But I think that, in my opinion, and from what people seem to say, is that presidents are seen as temporary. They have like a temporary spot in the government, so that this deep government, the people that oversee the special access, the black programs, whatever.
The Men in Black.
Sort of, but like they don't see the president as someone who needs to know because they're only there for a short time.
Right.
And if this is a real thing, it's the biggest secret in the history of mankind. So are you going to trust Donald Trump with that information?
Yeah.
And the reason that I don't think presidents are briefed on it, because that he would have blurted it out day one. Like,
Right.
he can't keep a secret. So,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm not even being political,
That's
but
true.
he's just someone who just, if he knows something that people would think that would be,
However, it would
he would love
benefit
to
him.
impress people as being the guy that knows that. And if he hasn't said it, then I don't think.
It would be Twittered.
Yeah. Clinton apparently was told some stuff.
Tweeted.
Oh,
Carter.
Twittered or tweeted? It'd be
Would it be twittered?
There's a somewhat famous story in UFO lore that Jimmy Carter was briefed on the beings and what they are. And basically he was told that Christianity was created by them and given to us as a way to like deal with whatever it was. And he was a very staunch Christian. And apparently that made him burst into tears because it made him realize that his religion probably wasn't founded on anything concrete. So he may have been one of the last presidents who was possibly actually briefed on it in any real sense, supposedly.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us really know any of this stuff, but it's just certain things get out, you know.
But I mean, they have those documents that have slowly been released that do talk about it. And that's where I go into the other show. I get all of my information, you know, off really reliable sources, TV shows. So
Some of them, I mean, some of them can be, you know.
Project Blue Book. Have you seen that show?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the guy who, you know, supposedly worked, right? It's based off a real guy who would go around.
J. Allen Hynek. Yes.
Thank you. See?
And he was basically hired to debunk UFOs. And he was someone he was a skeptic. He didn't believe in any of it. And he was hired to be like, listen, find a way to explain all this stuff because people can't really know about it. So that was kind of where the stigma was supposed to start as far as making it a joke and little green men and all kinds of stuff. But his job was to debunk UFOs, not to prove them right, but to prove them false. And by doing his investigations, it made him a believer.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
so he did end up. I think I've watched like a few, like
Yeah.
maybe first 5 or 6, but I had.
He's in Close Encounters. He has a cameo in Close Encounters at the end.
The
when
real guy?
The real guy. Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't
I'm gonna have to
know
go back and
that.
see
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yep. He has a cameo in the end when the aliens land at the airbase.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
Yep.
Is there anything out there like, you know, Area 51 and stuff? Is there anything that has actually been seen, photographed, anything that where made you, because I know you're a real believer.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
do too. I just believe on the fact that we have so many galaxies and it's such a huge universe. How are we the only intelligent being out there?
It's
just
impossible. It's impossible to think that we're alone in the universe. But the question is, are things here? Right?
Yeah.
That's the big question. It's been my favorite subject since I was like 7 or 8 years old. So I've been waiting my entire life for what's possibly happening right now.
But
I mean, it's insane.
yeah. But I always go back to that scene in, I believe it's Independence Day or something, where they're standing on top of the building and they're holding the signs, thinking they're here as friends, and then the first one's blown up.
Yeah.
So and if anything's true about what they say about Hollywood is being fed by the government on some of these things, do they want us to be friends with them or do they want us afraid of them? That's my question.
Oh man.
Like, I'm like,
That's tough. For most of my life, I've kind of been thinking that they're mostly friendly. That's been my idea. But the more stuff that's kind of coming out now, it's making me a little bit more nervous.
Yeah.
None of us, we don't know. And the argument's put forward that, you know, if they wanted to be violent, if they wanted to hurt us, they would have done it by now.
yeah.
But that's not necessarily true. Like, things can change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we have not been very good to this planet. And if this is maybe a planet that either they want or maybe they've already been here forever, there could be a point where they're like, these guys are fucking this up too bad.
Like,
now
enough
it's
is
time to
enough.
act.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when a couple gets married, it's usually get married, everything's good, everyone's happy and in love. But, you know, often a husband can kill his wife 20 years down the road. You know,
Oh, yeah.
relationships can change. So that could be a deal with them too. I mean, there's nothing we could do to defend ourselves if they decided to do something.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
You know, it's over. So my worry is that could happen. My worry is that what if we're food?
They're
I mean-
just breeding us for the day that they run out of food on their planet.
Maybe
I mean,
we truly know nothing.
know.
I mean, we could become a slave colony. I mean, I really have no idea. Or they could be, you know, some people think they might be us from the future.
I was going to ask that. That
Yeah.
was going to be my next question, because a lot of people say that they're actually us and they're trying to warn us because maybe we did fuck it up so bad. That's why they're no longer here.
Yeah,
You
possibly.
know, so they're trying to give us a warning like, hey, don't fuck it up, because it's, you know, kind of like a Terminator, you know, going
Right.
back in time.
Right.
So letting us know.
I don't know. I'm still trying to maintain hope that it's a somewhat positive thing. But if they're also here to help, we've already had so many horrible things happen over the history of this planet, and even stuff happening now, and they haven't interjected yet. So
I'm wondering too, maybe
they might
they're-
just be observers.
I was going to say maybe their life's so good in the future. They're like, you know what? Whatever happened back then led to this now. And we're just studying what happened back then.
Right.
And
Or-
how we got here. You know, maybe we're their history.
Yeah.
I was to say they're writing their history book.
They're writing their history.
They
Exactly.
could also be like people where there's good ones and there's bad ones. I mean, that's also a very possible thing, and that's another thing speculated is there's ones that have bad intent and there's ones that have good intent.
Yeah.
And maybe the ones with good intent, maybe part of the treaty or agreements that have been talked about is that we get protection from the bad ones in the universe. You know, who
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
Or
I also believe I think the science is turning more towards them being interdimensional visitors.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's what I'm leaning towards it being. Either
The last time we talked, that's what.
Yeah.
you were-
either they're coming in and out of
about.
different dimensions, that they're here, they're next to us right now,
Yeah.
but they have the ability to pop
Like
in and
time
out of
jumping
our
or whatever. Not that
No,
time
just
jumping,
like
but
Not time travel, but-
what was that movie where they went through the dimensions and they're
There's been a few. Like I'm not sure which one, but there's been a few. But also
There
I
was
think
a episode of The Twilight Zone.
I don't know.
It was called The Third Dimension.
Oh, really?
oh
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
They also spend so much time in the oceans. I wonder if they live and are from the ocean somewhere.
I mean
Like maybe there could be like an ancient civilization that lives underground or in the oceans too. I mean,
Yeah.
truly don't know. We know nothing about the ocean.
No, nothing.
I did because back in history, like thousands of years ago too, they said there was at one point, and I forget which civilization. I don't even know how to say it, but
The Kardashians?
yeah, those ones.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the ones where they actually had their type of computers and stuff. Like the intelligence has always been there, but then for some reason it got wiped out, or whatever the reason that civilization got wiped out, and then we had to start over. So it's like it could be like you said, they're way more intelligent than us. They moved ahead. It got wiped out.
How
Kind
do
of
they
like what happened to
communicate, I
us.
wonder?
Because if it wipes out, we have to start over.
Sure.
Like if
Yeah.
we're, and there's only a few of us here, and with our luck, it's going to be me that don't know how to say anything correctly. And so we're going to have a whole new language.
You might get us zapped. You might be the one. The communication you said, that's a hard part.
That's always been my biggest thing is how do they communicate?
And you wonder
Telepathy.
That's my feeling is that everything is done like
that's what's
no
been talked
there's
about
no
for years
language.
is that like thoughts are put into your head.
Mm-hmm.
However that works. But also like wife and I were on a road trip recently. We were listening to a UFO podcast on the way home.
You're so lucky.
There was a whole part. There was a whole part about communication, and we don't have the ability. We're very intelligent creatures. We don't have the ability to communicate with ants. We can't communicate really with dogs. They understand a couple words. We like chimpanzees and whales and dolphins are super intelligent, but we can't talk to them.
yeah.
Like they've been making sounds for thousands of years. We have no idea what whales are doing. We don't know what they're saying.
Yeah,
What
and
they're
I
talking
always
about.
say like I talk to my dog like my dog's like they're human.
Right.
But I say all the time like I wonder what they're hearing when I'm like holding a conversation. Like when I tell him when I leave for work in the morning, like,
Oh,
"Hey,
yeah.
I'm gonna be a good boy. I'm gonna go to work now." He's probably like,
All he hears is "good boy." I think there's a
probably
couple
so.
key words
Yeah,
that
like
get it, and
treat
like,
or walk or
and I think they more understand the tone of your voice
of course
and the way you're speaking.
because I say, "Do you want to murder?"
Yeah.
And his ears go
Yeah.
bing.
But if you angrily say "good boy," he'll get freaked out.
Of course.
So I wonder.
Yeah, there's not. Yeah,
It's
I
definitely
don't.
the tone, because
Oh,
I think
for sure.
my tone bothers some dogs.
And some people,
Yeah. Thank
Yep.
you.
some
Yeah,
people in
talk
this
to-
very room.
Talk to my husband. I'm pretty sure. I know, because sometimes the dogs will pull up in the drive-through.
The dogs?
The dogs are in the drive-through for their morning coffee.
You don't drive safe, do you? Puppy, want to drive? Dog, you want to drive?
I'm telling you. We have our usual customers
all
that
the
come by
time.
with their dogs. And so, yeah, I know, because my brain goes faster than I
Your
speak.
mouth can talk. Yeah.
So the dogs, with their humans, drive up in the drive-through, and some of them I'll be like, "Hey," and they're so excited to see me, and other ones I'll say, "Hey," and they're like, Like my voice just is higher than they even want to register.
They tell her to turn the volume down on the headset.
They do,
or on her
at work.
whatever at work. Cause
They
she's
tell
so
me,
loud.
Oh my God.
And so then I started having to talk like this, like, "Hi, welcome to Starbucks. How can I help you?" I said I'm gonna have to go into my sexy voice because if I'm in my
Sounds like you're romancing the people
thank
there.
you, and that's what they say. They laugh all the time. They're like, "Shannon, you should be doing sex phone talk or whatever." You know, like you have
Most of us call it phone sex.
sex.
Sex phone. Please
All the time. I'm telling
listen,
you.
government, if you're listening, we have found the ambassador to Earth, and her name is Shannon Romo, and she's right here. She'll sex phone your.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
She will sex phone your masticizing combinations and all kinds of.
It'll be a whole new language.
And eat a spinach salad when she's done.
Hi, I'm Shannon. Bzoo, 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 bzoo. Ah!
We're not going to air
like,
this video. It's going to get us killed.
They're like, we failed.
I brought my doggy to talk to you. Oh shit, we're fucked.
I'm telling you, so many people are like, "Oh my god, you guys are so funny." I'm like, "We don't do a funny podcast. Our podcast
It's
is not
okay, but
supposed to be
that
funny.
really
Funny.
that
We
is
don't
the
talk
charm of
about
it.
funny topics."
But it's so funny because I can fuck up like 5 times on there. And the last podcast, she said one word wrong and they called her out on it on a message.
Somebody commented very nicely.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
It wasn't.
really
It wasn't.
sweet. It wasn't
mean,
rude.
But I was telling her last night. I'm like, out of all the words that you have mangled, one listener is correcting me.
It's correcting her.
It's amazing.
I know.
It's amazing.
It's probably because you're so spot on how you speak. Like they're like, okay, she
Right.
she
They were
wants-
worried about you for a
She
minute.
wants to be correct.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not
She's all
contagious,
Shannon.
is it?
Yeah. She's all Shannon doesn't care about being correct.
Shannon
but
lives with a
this one-
constant stroke, but Gina, we're concerned for you right now. Something happened to Gina. We gotta help her.
Real quick.
Shannon's lost. We gotta help Gina now. Catch it early. Shannon's in stage 4 of a brain disorder. They're trying to catch yours early.
that maybe they are afraid it's contagious because every once in a while she'll do it and I'm like, oh, welcome to my brain. I was gonna ask too because another lead on into like our future is that what if it like AI, like because we did bring up Terminator, so what if they aren't of like organic being, they are something that we actually created and kind of writing their history book because they're making it more and more known now. And I feel like because AI is coming a lot, it's like scary. Like you can watch videos of people and you think it's them, but it's not them at all.
Truth is over. We're past the era of truth. Like nothing can be shown, and like video means nothing. Audio
No.
means
Yeah.
nothing.
No
yeah, it's a
filters.
scary thing.
I mean, I throw a filter on and I'm 20 years younger.
Yeah.
I'm like, we were even talking about that on the
Obviously
way over
not
here.
using it now.
I know.
We had to give Dan a warning.
I know. We were talking about it on the. That's why we were talking about it on the way here because we're like, oh, I wonder if there's a filter.
I'm like,
that we
we're
can
gonna
use for
really,
this
we're
morning.
gonna
Yeah,
really
you guys
have to
look
have
great. Come
Dan
on.
color correct this one more than color correction.
I didn't know that you color corrected.
Yeah, a little bit, of course.
I did not even know that was a thing on the
Yeah,
video.
you got it. You got to
Oh.
do it.
Sorry to all our
You
listeners.
noticed.
Yeah.
We're like all olive tone. We got shadows going on our. We can't correct anything.
Oh yeah, just I do a couple minor tweaks. You know,
yeah, because the lighting is so. I don't know how you get the lighting so right, but our lighting
my
is
God.
always.
our lighting sucks. I don't like our lighting at all, actually.
Yeah.
But you know, it's
No,
part of
it's-
part of the thing.
Yeah, unless it's like directly right in front of you and people can see it in the camera, it's like it's hard to get it right.
Yeah, it's hard
so,
to.
Yeah, unless you got like 20 light bulbs
You know
on
what
you
though?
and you're sweating.
I think that maybe our room is too big.
It is. A big
I
room.
think it works better here because it's just more compact, you know, and it's just more like I feel like to get our lighting right, we'd have to do the whole entire because we're recording in a huge room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds
Brag much?
It sounds.
I know. Thank you. I was
no,
like,
but I mean,
in our mansion of 7 bedrooms,
but I'm
we're
saying,
recording
like, I feel
in one
like
of the big ones.
Your audio always sounds better to me
Yeah, maybe.
because
maybe.
it's not echoey.
Your audio sounds great. You guys,
No,
you kind of,
actually, we were listening to one of our episodes.
It's very soothing, our voices.
it really is.
and I was like,
Put you to sleep.
I was like, we don't sound bad. Like
You sound great.
I mean, not our voices, but like the audio part of it, and like
It doesn't look bad either. It really
no,
doesn't
I
look bad
mean
either.
we've got there. I mean,
Yeah.
in the beginning, it was like,
That's what beginnings are for.
Yeah.
That's what beginnings are for.
but I mean, we were just talking like, who would have thought that this is where we would be
In
like,
less than a year.
in less than a year. It's barely going to be a year in October that we started this, and we even had a comment from a listener on YouTube yesterday.
At first, we didn't know what
I was
quite
like,
to make of
I
it.
don't know
We didn't know
what
if
to
it was
make
like
of
a
this.
insult or a compliment. But then I'm like, no, I think
I think it was.
I
good.
had to look up the definition. Like, you know,
I knew what it-
What does
criminally-
dumb bitch mean?
Can that be taken in a positive way?
How can we twist this?
What was it?
It said
266 followers and 41 videos, and then it said, "Wow."
this is criminally underrated.
Yeah.
Like, this podcast is criminally underrated.
That's a compliment. That's a
Yeah,
huge
that's
compliment.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
it.
Without
So-
any question, that's a huge compliment.
That's what we took it. Yeah, we were like, oh, okay, I think it's a compliment.
Yeah, we were.
What does criminally underrated mean?
I'm like, I think it's good. I don't know, but yeah. So
but you know
we
what sucks
were-
though is to be doing this for 14 years and still hearing that. It's like, well, I would like to be overrated at some point.
I know, right?
Thank you.
Where's that audience at?
Yeah.
But it's funny because I was reading. I mean, because when we first got into it, you know, because you have these dreams of like, oh, we just need that one video and we're just going to go viral and that's it. And it's only going to take like, you know, the third video in because people are going to get to know us, you know. But because we think we're funny. But
You are funny.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But that Joe Rogan, it took him something like 7 years before he even got off the ground. And he's a person that somebody knew, you know, like he talked about like podcasting's hard. It's not as easy. And these people who,
And his started with him sitting on the couch talking to his friends. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
there's one that I listen to. I guess I'm going to give him a plug, but it's cute though, because I went into a T-Mobile one day and I was talking to the kid there because I was getting our phones done. And I said something about starting a podcast. He goes, oh, I have one too. He goes, oh, it's just this little one, you know, it's called like IE and Friends. From the Inland Empire, and they just sit around. It's just him and his buddies just sit around.
Oh, yeah.
But they have like they talk about like, you know, the Mexican culture and, you know, things like that, and they're really super funny. But I go on and it's like, you know, 7,000 followers, like all this, and I'm like, I just have this little podcast. I'm like, really? Like that's
You ever heard of
really
a
good.
podcast called Cumtown? Literally, CUM, Cumtown. It was 4 friends sitting on a couch talking shit, and they were making close to 80 or 90,000 a month on their Patreon.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like
It's insane.
It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? So it just things can just hit, things resonate eventually,
Yeah.
or I mean, just do it because you have fun. That's the
just
biggest
do-
thing.
yeah,
that's- I mean-
Expect nothing.
Yeah, we're just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
We like what we're doing and we like the content we're giving. Content? I said that right. Okay, yeah. Content that we're giving. Sometimes I have to question myself when it's correct.
How do you do it?
I'm telling you.
It's amazing.
We in the beginning.
The
it
gifts
was
that she
rough.
gives.
I know. That's why you always have to be recording. You always have to like have
Every once in a while,
footage
she's
of
like,
it.
why wasn't I recording?
Yep.
Yeah, but
I got a lot of doozies.
she does. She says she's going to do a reel one
I need
day
to make
of
a
just
reel.
all
I need
the-
to just sit
Oh
down.
my God,
and,
please.
Like, just do all of them because there's so many of them.
You should do one every year, like a Shannon in review of her best of her highlight
of
moments.
how I've improved.
I love it.
Well, I don't know if we do it how you've improved, but
She's come a
how
long
you keep
way.
going.
That's true.
Do you have more questions?
What do you guys think? What do you think about what's going on right now, and how do you feel about whether they're coming here, whether they're here? What are your thoughts?
When I first saw that video in Vegas, I got a little scared and nervous. Like, you know, when you first see it like on TikTok and stuff, because because in Vegas, what about the one where the UFO over the strip club?
That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, like it just sat there and you can actually see the lights reflecting off
In the clouds or whatever
in the
it was.
clouds. Yeah.
It was interesting. There was a few different angles of it. There's definitely something there, but it also in Vegas, there's so many weird lights being shot up into the sky that I wonder. But that one was kind of intriguing.
One sat there
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
And multiple people saw it. And yeah, it's just, and
You should cut that into your video right now. show that. Yeah.
TikTok
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And that's what I mean. Like, there's all this, like, because we have so many cameras. And then the guys in the air fighters, you know, the Navy fighters. Jet
We call them
planes.
pilots, not air fighters, but
I thought she said the air fryers. I was like, how do we, wait, what are we talking about?
The professional air fighter in the sky place.
Talking about air fryers all of a sudden.
I fight in the clouds, and I'm an air fighter.
Imagine.
my friend's an ocean fighter. You know,
Imagine when I'm 70 and I can't get the word.
firefighters fight fire. Air fighters, what do they do? They fight the air? What do they do? They're fucking pilots. Show them
you know
some
the
goddamn
worst part?
respect. They protect
She
your life.
says it with such confidence that it makes you question yourself. Like,
Exactly. It's like, am I an idiot or she an idiot?
yeah, where you're just like agreeing, like, oh yeah, I know what those
So
are.
great.
Yeah.
The Navy pilots,
They're coming out with their stories.
Commander Fravor and Ryan Graves and Alex Dietrich, they were the ones responsible for those famous the Tic Tac video and the gimbal video. They were all released, leaked by sort of Jeremy Corbell, who's a ufologist and old friend of Dark Matter and a friend of mine. And the Pentagon came out and said that those videos are legitimate. So
Yeah.
those are truly anonymous objects that were filmed and chased. And these things, the Tic Tac UFO did an amazing thing where, you know, they saw it came in from above 80,000 feet, because that's as far as the radars go, is 80,000 feet. So it may have come in from outer space or whatever. It went from 80,000 feet to sea level in 1 second. In one second.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah,
And-
that's the one that you and I were talking
Yeah.
about.
So this Commander Fravor, David Fravor, they were doing training exercises to air fighter jets, as you call them. And he
What are
decided
they called? Navy jet fighters? What are they called?
they're just called fighter pilots. They're called jets. You just call them
Okay.
jets. Yeah,
The
that's fine.
jets,
Yeah.
okay. Just keep
But
it
these
simple,
guys,
stupid.
these guys are the equivalent of Tom Cruise's character in Top Gun. These are truly,
Yes.
and they're actually called Top Gun pilots. That's what this guy might have been one of the best fighter pilots in the world. And so he went down to like check to see what this thing was, and he's flying towards the ocean to take a look at it. And this thing turns and like basically looks at him with its nose and comes right at him. And it starts mimicking as he's doing these evasive maneuvers, it's mimicking his maneuvers. And then in 1 second, it was gone. It disappeared. And he asked like the radio control guys back at the ship, like, where is it? And they said, you're not going to believe it. It's at the cap point. So the cap point is a secret meeting location that pilots have. So when they're done with their exercise, they fly to a point in the sky where they meet up. That's like we'll meet up at the safety point or whatever, the cap point they call it. This thing, for some reason, it's a secret. It's a super secret location. This Tic Tac craft knew their meeting location and disappeared from his point of view and made it to the cap point in 1 second, and it was 60 miles away. This thing knew where their meetup spot was, and it anticipated their move and met them there before they even got there.
But 1 second, you go 60 miles in 1 second.
No, like
It's crazy.
And this is documented with radar and all kinds of shit. This happened, and there's no explanation for it. Zero. So
and when you say tic tac, what's that a term for?
because it's a craft that they saw. I think it was like maybe 30 or 40 feet, but it looked like a Tic Tac, the Mint. It looked it had no wings, no propulsion, no windows, no nothing, and it was traveling at some point like 12 to 20,000 miles per hour with no propulsion system. And
That's insane.
these pilots were seeing these things every single day for a year off the coast off the East Coast, off the West Coast. And
How big are they?
the 30 to 40 feet. But there's also, this, you guys got to watch this interview with this, the whistleblower, David Grush. He was interviewed by a guy named Ross Coulthart, who's a really great journalist, Australian journalist. And he's pretty deep in the UFO world. But he recently hinted at, backstory. there's going to be congressional hearings coming up in the next couple of weeks with whistleblowers and people that have actually worked on UFOs, speaking to Congress under oath to try to like uncover this whole thing. And so the thought is that all these companies, whether it's like aerospace companies or defense companies like Lockheed Martin, they've been long believed to have UFOs in their possession. Because if the government has them, they require oversight. But if you give them to private industry, you don't have to report them to Congress. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So the worry is that all these companies now are trying to hide their shit, like move these things around and move these UFOs to different hangars or put them further underground.
Is there a reason why they're trying to hide it? It's not that they don't want us to know. They want to
keep it from Congress.
The technology,
but the thing is, like they're hoarding this technology that could be beneficial to humanity.
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of the saddest part of the whole thing is that this technology that these things have really could possibly save this planet. Free energy and all kinds of shit. But talk about size. There's apparently a craft that is so big that when it crashed, it couldn't be moved. So instead, they just built a building around it to study it where it crashed because it was too big to move.
Oh, where is this location?
Don't know, but this guy Ross Coulthard, who interviewed David Grush, the whistleblower, says that he knows exactly where it is, that Congress is going to be told where it is, and then it's going to be Congress's job to go find these things.
Is it on that part of the 405 that you're driving down in Seal Beach that you see all those mounds, and I don't know what those mounds are?
Yes, that's where it is. That's where it is.
But
it's not crazy. I mean,
do you know what I'm talking about off the 405?
I do.
Right here off the 405. The mounds. What are those mounds?
Don't know.
Thank you.
Don't know.
It could be there.
Guess we're hitting the 405 on the way home.
So he says
like
it's in a
405, like 605. Seal
he
Beach
said
area.
that one is in a foreign country, and some people think it might be in South Korea because there's a weird thing built into the side of a random mountain in South Korea, which is actually it's controlled by the United States in some way, so it could be there.
Should we ask Todd to check before he comes?
Yeah, probably. Todd's currently there right now. Mind popping over to this mountain real quick?
Hold on, let me call him real quick. Hey, before you get on that plane.
We have a mission for you.
But there's been, the Phoenix Lights. You remember the famous sighting in '97 in Phoenix? That slow-moving triangular craft that went from like Tucson to Phoenix over the course of 2 or 3 hours. It was seen for hours by thousands and thousands of people. And that thing was like 1 or 2 miles wide.
It's huge.
People have claimed to see things in space.
Miles.
There's been some astronauts and people who've seen things in space that like a craft that was like 3 miles long. So it's weird. It's so strange.
When do you think this is gonna be like out? Like where you and I talked last time, but it was a Patreon video. Like when is it going to be where we can be like,
I can't believe how fast
inviting them to dinner.
I can't believe how fast it's been going.
When can I have them to my house for dinner?
Chuck Schumer, there's a breaking story yesterday. Chuck Schumer, representative, he tweeted out, breaking, I'm introducing new legislation to declassify government records related to unidentified anomalous phenomenon. They're called UAP now, and UFOs as an amendment to the NDAA, modeled after the JFK Assassination Records Collection Act. So basically, there's all kinds of politicians now pushing to just kick the doors off this thing and open it wide open. Marco Rubio, who's like the head of intelligence kind of oversight type guy, he has been so vocal lately about like he's pissed off that this information is being hidden from Congress and hidden from oversight, which is wildly illegal for this to happen. So
do you think they're afraid that if they let us know that they're out there, that it's kind of like a free invitation for them to come and just interact with us and whatever they need to do? Like,
I don't know, kind of like but also whose right is it to decide what we can handle and what we can't handle? That's the part that is so annoying to me and many others, is like, who are you to say what we can handle and what we can't? Yeah. I mean, we handled COVID, we handled 9/11, we handled the Holocaust, we handled the Kardashians. Again, we'll mention it. But like, we can handle horrible things. And even if it's really bad news, like when you go to the doctor, right? and the doctor finds out you have cancer, he doesn't keep it from you to protect you from the reality of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, here's the information. It's not good, but you got to deal with
What
it.
you got to
Yeah.
do with it. This is our new reality.
Right. But it's being hidden because of power and money and
I was going to
all
say
kinds of
that
shit.
too. I was going to go back to the comment you made where it's like, oh, free energy. They have all this technology. I think it's a lot has to do with money motivated, because if you start giving away free energy, who's going to be making the money
Oh,
off
yeah.
of
Of course.
selling it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, that's private industry and private companies are the I think the main people pushing to keep this secret, because the oil industry does not.
Yeah.
I mean,
they don't like electric.
billions and
Yeah.
billions and billions of dollars, and for the most part, people are not. Humanity is not very good. Like
No.
we are a greedy, violent people, and I think those companies would rather enjoy their short life in the scheme of things and let your kids suffer in the future with not
Right.
being able to breathe our air,
Right.
and they can die billionaires.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's kind of that
That's
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I don't understand too. Is like when they find out something's bad for you, like let's say aerosol spray. Why is it being sold still? Like if it's damaging our
Because of New Jersey.
atmosphere.
New Jersey needs
Is
it for their tidal wave bangs. That's simple.
And this is where we insert the photo of me in 1989.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Aquanet.
Aquanet.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, no, for that reason is, it's money. It's a
Yeah.
money thing. So yeah, it's just really sad that they put above our health, they put dollar signs, and
Oh,
it's
of
just
course.
cancer. I really do
Well,
believe
yeah,
there's a
because-
cure for cancer. I really do
Oh,
believe
yeah, there has been
that there's
forever.
something out there, and the only reason why that's a biggest moneymaker in medical
Yeah.
field.
Yeah,
Like,
but pharmaceuticals is
I think like
a racket.
car insurance companies are probably not thrilled about Teslas and self-driving cars, because that means less accidents, which means less money and less need for insurance. But you asked about when it's going to be open and like when it's going to be an open thing.
Yeah.
I don't really know, but there's been a
There's
a
like
story
timeline,
floating around
right?
recently, of a 2027 is the cutoff time, and that was a date given to us by them, basically being like, them being whatever these beings are, like, you guys need to prepare your people, because like we're coming in 2027, and whether that means in a violent way or like we're going to coexist here type thing, I don't know. But I think I do think it's going to be sooner. I think things are moving
Quickly.
the stuff that's happened in the last month and a half, 2 months, is more than has happened in my entire life of watching this very, very closely.
Yeah.
Like never before have such highly decorated military people come forward in the proper channels to testify under oath about things that they know, with the risk of like being killed. I mean, and
Yeah.
the risks are unbelievable. But there's new legislation that passed over the last year and a half, that allows people that have worked on these programs, that have the information, to break their NDAs and testify to Congress behind closed doors legally. And that's why this stuff is happening.
And do you think that maybe it's because, like you said, they're aware of this deadline? So it's like, we got to start getting this information out there, because
Maybe.
we need to let the public know what's going to happen. And just on a side note, this is why I do not want grandkids. If my kids are listening, do not want grandkids. I just think that at this point, everything's so uncertain
Yeah, it is.
that it's just, that we'll deal with it, but I don't want to have to worry about little ones.
I mean, we are this close to nuclear war.
Oh yeah.
Thank
Like,
you.
we are
Yes.
right there. And with someone like
If it
Vladimir
doesn't
Putin,
happen, I'd be surprised. To
Yeah.
be honest with you, I was
Yeah.
thinking about that the other day.
when recently that Wagner mercenary group was charging into Russia to try to like basically get Putin.
Yeah.
And I was like, part of me was like, cool, go kill that fucking guy. That's great. But then also I'm like, wait a minute, but he has his finger on the button. He's the kind of guy where, as the walls are closing in, he will take the entire world down with him. And I mean, nuke the whole world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, to
I'm with
get-
you. Like,
yeah.
I never wanted kids, but another big reason that me and her didn't want them is like, in this world,
Yeah.
No
It's
fucking
like-
way.
Yeah. It's just like, it's crazy.
when our kid is 20, can it breathe air?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, will it even get food?
Right.
What are they going to be eating?
Yeah.
It's the
Look at the way
movies that-
food's
yeah.
changed just in our lifetime.
Yeah.
The stuff that they can put in food.
Well, the stuff that
crazy.
they feed us just so that we have food. I mean, how much more can we do to animals and things like that to give us more, to feed more? You know, it's just like, it's just, yeah. But,
I read, totally off topic,
yeah, no.
but I was in the copy room at work, and one of my coworkers had picked up a stack of papers and brought it back to the classroom, and there was some other teacher was in there, I'm not sure, was running off these articles, and it was about human composting. And I was like,
Whoa.
first of all,
Cool.
why is this being taught? Like,
To the high
why are
school
we
students.
teaching this in a high school student? But I'm like, hold on a second. Like, when you think about how that, like, we're cannibals. That's, I mean, I'm not sure how else this can, how else can you look at that? Right?
So it's saying if people's bodies were put back into the ground
Yeah.
to help grow food, yeah. I mean, if you believe that everything goes back to dust once we die, I mean, in some way, one way or another.
I don't know.
She's like, I know what people feed themselves. I
Yeah.
really don't want that
Yeah.
into my.
Dude, I'm gonna
my
taste
new
like
food.
fucking Oreos. Whoever eats me is gonna be Oreos and Monster Energy. They're gonna be stoked. This guy is fucking delicious.
Imagine if they can bag you up like coffee beans.
Oh my god!
Imagine.
Give me 2 bags of Cleary, please. He's so good.
He's got the Oreo cookie flavor.
Yeah.
birthday
so
cake,
good.
right? Birthday cake.
I'd
so,
be filled
so
with
good.
espresso. That's about it.
Oh my God. Did you hear her?
No.
Say it again?
Yeah, I'd be filled
you-
with espresso.
And she works at Starbucks.
Oh,
Did she say it wrong?
She says espresso.
Oh yeah, it's not that.
It's espresso.
It is.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and-
you can't work at Starbucks and say espresso.
Yeah.
And I honestly did not know how to even spell it. That the first time that I had to write it onto one of the bins, like when we store it at night, I put EX.
Okay,
I put espresso.
Is it 2 double S's?
It's ESS.
ESS. I
PRESSO? Is it 2 double S's?
I believe. No. No.
Shannon, spell it, please.
No X.
Espresso. No, it's ESS. EP. No, I don't know.
Espresso? Espresso?
ES,
Espresso.
ESPRESSO.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like, I know how to spell it. I spell it every night.
Can we
I'm like, now you're
ask
just
Jim and
confusing me.
Karen to say that on their next video?
Yes. Oh my god.
I have to say, they might be my favorite people on this planet, and I want to know their take on UFOs.
Wait, which people?
Gary and Katie.
Oh, Gary and Kate. What did I say?
You said Jim and Karen? Who are you, Shannon?
It's rubbing off.
Jim and Karen. First, I'm like, I think she meant that, but then I'm like, but both names are wrong. It is 9 a.m. and I am tired. Maybe I'm just gonna smile and pretend like I know what she's talking about. Hopefully they won't ask, and here we are. Gary and Katie. Yeah.
Gary and Katie.
If you're not
That's what
familiar,
I can get Jerry. I can see how you
Jim
get
and
Jimmy
Karen. I
from
mean, my
it.
dad's name's Jim. My mom's not. My
Yeah.
mom's name's not Karen.
Gary and
but-
Katie they have other fish to fry. I think. Yeah, pretty great, right?
Oh my God, it's like a rabbit hole you just can't stop.
Yeah, there's more stuff coming. We got more stuff coming.
Have you been watching Rare Form?
I didn't. I'm a little bit behind.
My life is consumed by UFOs, baseball, and Gary and Katie.
Okay, so everybody listening, you need to. I mean, other than this, you need
The
to,
newest episode
you
we
need
just
to
dropped,
subscribe to Rare
episode
Form, but-
242. We are so much new Gary and Katie comment from our show that came out.
Who's Gary and Katie?
You need to listen.
I'll back
You-
up.
you
I'll-
need-
Funny
I'll
enough,
listen.
I-
you know what? On the drive home, start me from the beginning.
I
tell you where
found
I
them
left off.
because of UFOs. Honestly.
Oh, that's yeah. I was like, I don't even know where they came from. You stumbled upon
Yes.
him, right?
So I've been following, UFO Twitter is a term. Like UFO Twitter is great. It's such a big topic on Twitter, but it has exploded over the last year or so. So I found this guy named Gary in some random UFO comment thread, and he had some like super odd take on something. I'm like, oh, that's wild. Clicked on his profile, and I'm like, okay, I love this, and just started going through. Read after two tweets. I was like, follow.
You're like, I'm in.
I'm following this random guy,
It's the best.
and he's a guy who He's probably in his 60s, I would say, safely. Or he could be,
At
with how much
least.
meth he does, he might be 30. I don't know.
Say at least.
But he's in his 60s. He's running for office somewhere in Wisconsin. He also claims that he's the on-call backup singer for AC/DC if ever Brian Johnson isn't able to make it.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be.
It's a great replacement.
He talks about being a kid and growing up with Malcolm and Angus Young from AC/DC, but they're Australian and he's very, very American. I mean, him and his girlfriend are just they are a roller coaster, and they've become
Your best friend?
current mascots of our show. So I followed him, and then like he followed me back, which terrifies me because like I also tweet out the show, so he might see himself anyway. But tune in to Rare Form Radio for some great content.
He'd probably be so happy. Trust me.
No, not the way we talk about it. I mean, we make jokes, but truly, like I'm riveted by the relationship. It's like it's this guy and his
he looks
girlfriend.
at her for this approval. Of like, did I say it right?
Right. It's just he's crazy,
with
and
you?
his emotion. His emotions just do this roller coaster all the time. But yeah, thank you for noticing. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's
whoever
great.
Jim and Karen are. I'm sorry.
Jim and Karen.
Sorry to you guys. I'm not
I
sure.
pulled you under.
Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. So, wait, I was gonna ask you something else. Oh, when we were talking, whenever it was a couple months ago that we did the Patreon episode, you had said that you think that they're here to bring us together, or humble us, or.
I think that if it's announced that this is real and they come forward, I don't think if them announcing themselves would be for our benefit, but I think it has the opportunity to unite the human race.
Right.
I do think that, where if all of a sudden we realize, okay, we're no longer at the top of the food chain, we might be more in the middle, as some people are claiming that we are. Like, we're not as powerful or smart as we think we are. Mm-hmm. It could end up being a unifying, you know. Ronald Reagan said famously when he was president in his speech that he goes, I wonder, how quickly we would unite if we were faced by an alien threat. Mm-hmm. And it's true.
Oh, yeah.
Like I feel like maybe not instantly or completely, but any issues you have with other races or people's gender, like all of a sudden that stuff matters less when there's a much more pressing issue at hand that we need to figure out quickly.
Yeah.
I wonder. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think?
I like that, that take on it, because I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way, and definitely I think the world needs more of that.
Yeah.
Right now, especially.
When you look at Independence Day, the movie, if this thing is possibly a negative thing, you're not a movie person.
I've never seen
Basically, aliens come to Earth and people are like,
great
like
movie.
she's saying, everyone's like, oh, welcome, and then they're exploded. Like,
they get blown up.
It could be the kind of thing where if it's even remotely a negative thing, that governments could unite and like share information and be like, what do we do about this? What is our message as people to these things?
Yeah. I felt like that a little bit when COVID hit. Like, I felt like everybody was on the same page. It was like one world just for a little bit of
for a very short time.
Yeah, it was like just immediate. It was like
blink of an eye.
Yeah, it was just that immediate. Like at first.
I feel like that's when things fell apart.
Yeah,
and then it all fell apart.
But at the beginning, when's the last time that we all went through something together as humans?
Yeah. It felt
the
like
plague. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah, probably the last time the
Spanish flu.
Yep.
Came to my mind.
Yeah.
I was going to say World War II, but no, that was two different sides.
Two different sides, yeah.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know.
That was the closest thing. I mean, if you only have two sides in this country, we're doing good.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
No, I feel.
Yeah,
like
I really don't know.
Was,
I think that we have some very wild times ahead, and I do hope it's positive, but we'll see.
I'm just gonna be off topic too of the UFO thing, but you had brought up Putin. How do you think that's gonna end? Like with do you think that it would take the United States actually taking action and maybe
I mean, the Ukraine is doing a pretty great job of defending themselves.
They are.
Like I said, I thought that Wagner mercenary group, I really did think they were going to kill him.
Well, okay, and I wanted to ask a question to get clarification because I did see bits of it on the news. He was actually part of the Russian forces, right? Or was he Ukraine?
Well,
I thought...
I don't remember, but mercenaries by nature, like they're hired soldiers. So they don't care what the side is. They don't care what the intent is. They're killers for money. They're soldiers for money.
See, because I thought he was... For some reason, I thought he was Russian.
He might be.
Okay.
But mercenaries don't care.
But that's not what he was there
You know, if you're an American mercenary, you will fight the U.S. You don't care as long as your checks are being cashed.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, they're just...
And why did they finally pull back?
I don't remember. I don't know. I think maybe the Russian soldiers actually put up a pretty good fight for once. I don't really know.
I thought it was something, and then
you might know more than me. I don't know.
Exactly. I was just seeing bits and pieces, something where like, oh, he struck a deal that they weren't going to go after him if he backed off or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember.
I mean, they may have been paid. I mean, that might have all they really care about is money, so they might have been paid to stop. Please don't kill me. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know, but it is we're in a very, very scary place, and stuff with China is crazy, and I don't know. This is the most uncertain I've ever been in my life about tomorrow.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I mean, I think this is probably how they felt in the 50s.
Sure.
And, you know, with the Cold War and the, you know.
Yeah.
That's I'm
definitely
feeling like it's almost like the same. Because I remember back when I was in grade school and they would go through like, you know, little drills and stuff with us. And this is in the 70s. And I remember being a little bit afraid too. Like kind of thinking like, oh, okay. Because it was just kind of towards like the Cold War had kind of just ended and people were still.
So you're like getting under your desk and doing that kind of stuff in case there's like a nuclear war, like bombs?
I don't remember that, but I remember, maybe it was just regular, you know, drill alarms. But I remember being in elementary school thinking, and I don't know why the thought would always come like, okay, if a bomb comes, like I would always think that, like, oh, if they shoot a bomb, you know, and it was like really on my mind up until probably middle school where I started feeling more and more confident that it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny that we got
I think it's crazy the drills we have to do today.
Yeah, no, I mean for the shooters,
active
it's just
shooter
insane.
drills.
And
that breaks
we're hiding,
my fucking heart.
We're
that's
hiding
a thing.
against Americans.
Yeah.
You know, our own people. Yeah, no, for real.
It's very, very scary.
Right now, it's like we have more mass shootings in our country than we have days in the year that we've actually gone through right now.
Yep.
So, like, you know, if let's say we've already had like, you know, whatever, 130 days, we've actually, I think it's double the amount of mass shootings.
Are guns still the number one cause of death for kids under 18 right now?
I
believe so.
What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it's very scary. It makes me, I mean, obviously at this point in my life, I can't change careers, but it's very scary to think of 25 years ago, what we were doing as like drills, like, okay, we're just going to have like a fire alarm, you know, earthquake drill. And now we're teaching kids.
The shooting is way more likely than a fire.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Way more likely than an earthquake.
Yep.
I mean,
kids are taught to look around you and know your space around you and be able to grab something that you would be able to deflect a bullet with, hide behind a desk, grab a book, you know.
Even with me now being on tour, every venue I go into, I now look around. I'm like, if there's a shooting in here, where am I going?
Where's
if
your
I can't
exit?
get out, where am I hiding? Can I get up in the ceiling? Can I hide in this road case? Like, these are thoughts that we shouldn't be having.
I did that in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Every time I get into a movie theater, I'm like, really? This one only has one exit? Like, you know, like I am very aware of my surroundings. I was going to say too, I mean, I'm really curious, like as far as even listeners, because I can even say that my son's been on campus when they've had a lockdown because a kid came on campus with a gun. So it's like, so if my kid has experienced it, and like we're like in, you know, we're in La Habra, California. Now, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm sure it's happened to almost every single parent. And luckily I was in a meeting at that time because my son was texting me and my daughter, like, we're in a lockdown. There's a kid with a gun on campus. I would have flipped the fuck out. Like, but luckily I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
But so by the time I read my text messages, my daughter was communicating with them. that everything was fine by the end of it. But like, you know, so even like it just happens so often.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
There's multiple times during the day where I'll be sitting in the cafeteria and it'll be lunchtime and I'll turn around and I'll see a student who, to me, I don't work with gen ed population, so I'm not around them a lot.
With what?
I don't work with general education.
Oh, gen
kids.
ed.
Yeah, I work.
General education.
I work in special education, so I don't see a lot of the general. But we're on a campus with general education kids, and I'll turn around and I'll tell the teacher next to me, "Who have you seen this kid on campus before?" Like, and it's scary. Like, why do I have to be suspicious of a kid that's just acting a little off? But my thought automatically goes to like,
What are they doing?
are the gates locked?
Yeah.
Who left the gate open?
The other day, wife and I were in Zion National Park in Utah.
Beautiful.
Your pictures, yeah.
Unbelievable. Like a breathtaking, life-changing trip. But I didn't tell her this, but at one point I saw someone get out of their car and like go into the back seat and put a backpack on, which is such a mundane, easy thing. But like he looked around weird and put a backpack on. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yep.
He's just putting a backpack on.
He's hiking, hiking in
that's
Zion.
The alert level that we're on for like,
Yep.
well, backpacks are only used for books and ammunition. Everyone knows that.
Yep.
You know, and we're not at school, so this guy has to be a shooter. That's a very horrible place to be at.
Yeah.
Which again is like, come down. Need these people to come down and set us straight.
Regulate.
You know,
Fix the situation.
and back to them too. Like we are such violent people where, you know, people wonder why they don't land and announce themselves.
Yeah,
It's because we'll shoot at them.
I mean, what do they think? We're
when
not going to
something
greet
comes
them?
when something comes into our airspace, our air fighters, as Shannon calls them,
Our air fighters.
you don't go and
They're
try
very
to
good
say
men.
hello. You
And women.
become
Yeah.
combative and you start shooting.
Yeah.
So
not gonna be a Walmart
we'll set up
greeter there.
concentration camps, and we'll
whatever.
It's just like
Yeah.
yeah.
you know, if
we're
we
not-
had the ability to enslave these things,
Yeah.
we would in
Oh,
a heartbeat.
absolutely.
we are not
Absolutely.
a friendly race. Like I think
We're violent
other races.
animals.
I think other aliens should be more afraid of us than us afraid of them. To be honest with you, like we're just not a
Someone
friendly
made
race.
a comparison, like them seeing us doing what we're doing with nuclear weapons would be like us going into the jungle and finding a bunch of chimpanzees with machine guns. In a similar way, like, would you want to approach a chimp with a loaded machine gun?
Yeah.
And also, there's been chronicled, seen and recorded events of these craft. They hang out by nuclear power plants all the time. They're very, very curious of our nuclear abilities, to the point that they've gone and hovered over them and shut off the nuclear reactors.
Really?
So they have the ability to completely shut them off. I was watching a podcast last night with, and they were talking about a fighter pilot who was trying to engage one of these things, trying to shoot at it. And every single time he tried to pull the trigger, his weapon system shut off. So they anticipate what you're going to do, and they know how to turn off your weapons. So that's one thing about the nuclear war idea where I'm like, maybe it won't happen. Maybe they won't allow that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Maybe they'll shut it down.
But they are true. They're very, very interested and concerned with our nuclear capabilities. And government, like military officials, would tell you that is something that they call prepping the battlefield, where they are checking out like, what do they have? So when we do invade Earth, or when we do, if they're already here, when we do decide to take this planet back, what kind of defenses do they have?
Yep.
And where do we go to first? Like all the nuclear reactors, just shut them down.
Shut them off. And like once those are shut off, then if they want to be adversarial, then we're toast.
Yeah. I just say if there is any type
By
of
the way,
nuclear,
I'm not trying to spread fear, because I'm still trying to maintain that it's not a bad thing, but we have to be realistic where we just don't know. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that if a nuclear war does happen, my address is just aim it right at that house.
Yeah.
Like I do not want to be.
I don't want to be the
Luckily,
lone survivor.
Like we're in Southern California, we're in Los Angeles area, so I think that we would be a very, very main target.
Of course.
There are military bases here. There's, where it's a very hated part of the world by many, many countries. So I think we will not feel anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, it'll just be quick.
It just maybe don't even warn us. I don't even need a broadcast system.
No.
We don't need the little D.
We'll
I'm
just
good.
we will
Just-
be nuclear shadows
just-
for the rest of time.
We're sitting here doing the podcast and boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
that's it. Not truly. If that happens, I don't think we'll feel a thing.
Yeah. No.
But
So.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Let's hope.
Scary times.
I know.
Exciting times though. I'm riveted by all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. These hearings at the end of the month are going to be amazing. I think
Are they going to be broadcast? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
there's supposed to be public hearings with possibly 6 very high level witnesses under oath, and the fallout could be huge. So I'm pretty pumped about it.
That sounds really cool.
Well, we'll see. But you do a lot of this talk on Rare Form Radio.
Yes.
I'm thinking about even starting a whole new podcast about just this kind of stuff.
I think
Maybe.
you should.
You have enough material, like even because you just fed us a little like tip of the
I had so
iceberg
many
on
notes of stuff I want to get to. I
every
couldn't even
single
get
stuff.
to,
We'll
but
keep
like
going.
there's so much more to talk about. We got to do it again, but
Yeah.
in like real detail. But I encourage everybody to go to thedebrief.com and read David Grush's the article about David Grush, the intelligence officer who is coming forward. Watch his interview on News Nation. He did a 40-minute sit down where he talks about all this shit and refers to bodies and these craft and the interdimensional aspects. There's so much to learn, and whether you believe it or not, it's still fascinating. But
Yeah.
absolutely.
it's a very important shit, I think.
How do you not? You can't. How can you be a denier at this point when you
Th-
have
that's my
high level?
question.
Well, you can't
Yes.
deny life. You can't.
Yeah.
It's just like
UFOs are real. There's no discussion about it.
Yeah.
But what we don't know is the intent, what they want, what they're doing here, why they act
Yeah.
the way they act, why they show up where they show up, where they're coming from. We don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Now
I
you
think we're going
just-
to find out.
You really got to go back and re-listen to people's personal accounts that we kind of brushed under the rug
Yeah.
as far as alien abductions, meeting
Definitely.
them, things like that. Because I think for years we kind of like, oh, these are a bunch of crackpots, but
But
And I
that's
think
all by
they're-
design. All of that is by design. Like the U.S. government in particular has spent decades and decades. They spent more money hiding the programs than they have spent on the actual programs themselves. And it was a very, very clearly calculated disinformation campaign to stigmatize it, to make people who have had experience sound crazy to talk about.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that stigma is finally dissipating quite a bit, where people we can have these
Yes.
like normal conversations, and
yes.
we don't sound like absolute raving lunatics.
No, because and that's one of the things that you had said last time that we talked about it. That you had said to Darren, if I
Yeah.
start to like go
Sure.
overboard, like please stop me.
Pull me back, because you can get sucked in, and like it can start to feel like a cult at some point.
Yeah.
But it's important. But
I think when it started turning the corner for me, well, I've always kind of believed like, we couldn't possibly be the only one out there. But as far as them making contact is really when it started coming to, and I think you were the one who brought it to my attention, the kids in Africa.
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe,
That's-
unbelievable. There's
Yeah.
a film called Aerial Phenomenon, which is ARIEL, Aerial School in Zimbabwe, where a craft landed in 1994 at an elementary school, where like 80 to 100 kids watched this thing land in the schoolyard, with 3 beings that came out and interacted with these kids and like telepathically spoke into their brains.
Yeah, they said they were talking to them.
Right. Yeah. And that's one of the best cases that I've ever
That's
seen.
when, that's exactly for me. And I don't know if you guys talked about it. Was it on Dark Matter that you guys talked about it, or
I don't
was
know.
it that far back?
That story's been out for a little while, but the documentary is
Or was
new.
it
I
Rare
think it was
Form?
here. Yeah,
Okay.
because
Rare
I think
Form.
that's when
There's another documentary that came out recently called Moment of Contact, which is another one of the most compelling stories ever, by director James Fox, who makes incredible UFO documentaries about it's called the Brazilian Roswell. So in 1996, a crash happened in Varginha, Brazil, where a craft crashed and 1 or 2 beings came out of the craft and were like running around the town of Virginia, and one of the beings was actually captured by a cop, and the other one died. But it's a very well chronicled story where a ton of the locals saw this being in their town. Like, and it's very, very compelling. And watch these films. I mean, it sounds like sci-fi shit, but I really do believe these things happened.
And just one last question. With the technology we have nowadays, why are all the video footage blurry?
Well,
is it because it moves too fast?
You could say they're not, but also, I think that these things have the ability to either be seen or not be seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's been claims recently, and for years actually, that like the four of us could be looking at the same craft and all see something completely different.
Yeah. Yes. Perception is so.
But not even perception, but they can tell you what they want you to see.
Oh.
So people have seen like they almost change shape, or they look like a bagel, or they look like a pyramid or a triangle or a flying saucer, or people have seen what's a weird shape I just heard recently? It's like a broken up helicopter with broken propellers, but the bottom of it is like upside down, like ram's horns.
Oh,
like weird stuff where like there's no rhyme or reason to it, but you could argue that some. Here's the thing about what you just said about clear videos. If something is put out there that's too clear, people think it's CGI.
It's fake.
Yeah.
And
so that's the easy thing is that it's just, that's fake. Why? Because it looks good.
Because it looks good. Yeah.
I mean, there's some super compelling videos out there. There's a video from 2007, 2008, and 2009 where there was multiple sightings of a craft over Kumburgaz, I believe it is, in Turkey, with this like crescent-shaped craft that kept showing up over the ocean in Turkey. And you can see the fucking beings in the window. You can see them in the window, and it's relatively clear to see what you're looking at. And everyone just calls it fake. I mean, and that's from 2007 when shit was blurry.
Yeah.
But you can see the fucking things. And,
well, I was going to say too, I mean, we take videos sometimes and our videos are blurry, like, just us walking by, so it's like.
Have you ever seen a good phone picture of the moon?
No, it's really hard. You have to have it at a certain setting.
Doesn't mean that every picture of the moon is fake either.
Yeah.
It's just it's hard to take a picture of something. When you look up in the sky, you see an airplane, you can clearly see that it's an airplane. If you take a picture of it, you can't tell it's an airplane.
You can't tell. No, that is true.
But also, with the satellite imaging that the government uses and the world satellites have, I know for a fact from people that I've spoken to that we have 4K high definition videos of these things and photographs, but we're just not going to see them because it's not for us.
Yeah, of course.
But there is those videos, but
the
public doesn't.
We don't get to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. More to come.
We'll see what I know.
We have to do this more often.
I know.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you for your time.
Of course. I could talk about this for hours and hours.
The minute Las Vegas came out, I turned to her and I said, "Did you hear about those?"
We were
aliens
getting
in
ready
Las
to
Vegas?"
record a video, and she was like, "Hold on a second.
Yeah.
We got to
wait." And I'm like, "Hold, please.
Yeah.
We need to talk to Dan."
Yeah.
I'm like that, and then I'm like, "Did you not watch the Patreon video that I recorded with Dan?" She's like, "I didn't."
I've been
good way of supporting your own show.
I know.
I will say one thing that's been fun is like doing radio and podcasts for almost 15 years, and just working with famous people. I've been able to have some cool experiences and meet some interesting people. And since I've been talking more publicly about UFOs, I've been amazed at the direct messages I've gotten from people with like, "I didn't know you were into this. This is my experience." Like people that have worked for the Navy that have seen unbelievable things. I have a lead to speak to someone soon who possibly worked on bodies.
Oh, wow.
That is freaking me out a little bit.
That's going to be really super cool, though.
I hope so. I mean, if the guy will talk.
Yeah.
But there's just, how many people have experiences who just don't want to talk about it because they'll be labeled as crazy.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Their employers will hear it and like fire you for being a lunatic.
Yeah, of course.
So having these, thank you guys for having the talk, because it takes the stigma down and gets people comfortable talking about something that really could be the most important thing to ever happen.
Yeah.
No, and I wanted you know, somebody who, I mean, I think you're very well versed in it, and you obviously watch and
I
read.
have a passion.
And,
I mean, it's been
yeah.
my favorite subject for almost 30 years.
That's going to be your second career.
Over
like,
30
or third
years.
or what, you know, when they come down, they're going to be like, Dan, we
Where
need
are you at?
No, there's
We're recruiting you.
there's amazing people doing great work on the subject. My favorite podcast is it's called That UFO Podcast with this Scottish guy who does amazing interviews, good stuff. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp have a podcast called Weaponized, which is really great. So I encourage people to go there and get like the real information broken down by actual smart people. But go there for sure.
No, you
thank you.
did a very good job.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Very good
Thank
job.
you. Thanks
so
for
much.
asking.
And don't forget to tune into Rare From Radio.
you.
Subscribe, YouTube, podcast, everything. Get Heidi her $1,000.
subscribers.
She needs it. She needs
Yeah.
it.
Her car, everything.
And I always tell you guys, I'm so proud of you guys for what you're doing with your show.
you.
And I'm happy that you're sticking to it and
Oh, yeah.
keep doing it because it's fun and you guys are
We love
wonderful.
it.
No, we love it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we couldn't
really
have
do.
done a lot of it without
I was
you.
gonna
That's not
say
true.
we have
You would've
you to
figured it
thank
out.
so much. No,
So we
You would've
still
figured it out.
In fact, even 2 weeks ago, we're texting him, send us a picture of that thing.
yeah,
You're-
literally, I'm still like,
We're
We're
yeah,
still trying to figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're messing with the, you know, because it has the audio delay right now. So we're trying to
You got to do that
Tweak
in,
that.
in editing and
Yeah.
post. You just
just separate the audio.
separate the audio.
Yep, just
break it and
shift
tweak
it over a little bit.
Yeah.
You'll get
That's
it.
what-
That's all
Yeah,
good.
we're-
You
I
guys are doing a
mean,
great
I
job.
feel like we've come so far.
Yeah.
I'll just cover it up with pictures.
yeah,
When they're listening to it, they don't see that
They
the
don't see
audio's
it.
off.
Yeah.
All the magic happens in editing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. But we definitely couldn't have done it without
This
this one
Problem.
Thank
I love you
for
guys.
sure.
Thank you.
For
Love you very much.
sure.
Support 50 States of Madness. Big Cartel. What is it?
50 States of
Madness
Madness.bigcartel.com.
You guys got new merch coming out that's
New
pretty
merch.
banging. I bought a hat yesterday, coming
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Support these ladies. They're doing it on their own and they're kicking ass. And they do so much research for their shows. So much work goes into it. Support these guys. Go to their Patreon too, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Rare From Radio.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
You guys are
you guys have
familia,
been like,
as you people say.
Not me people, her people.
Her people. Yeah. Yeah. Familia. Gracias.
Yeah, so thank
Quesadilla.
you.
Thank you guys.
I'm pasta.
Mozzarella.
Yeah. Oh,
Ricotta.
does it? Yeah. I don't talk cheese because I don't eat it, but
Drives me nuts. Okay.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
As we were recording this episode, there was an amendment made to the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Disclosure Act of 2023. We will put the link in the description box on our YouTube video.